you need to start with your owned online assets, not the social media pages like Facebook and everything else. You need to have a website, and preferably a website with a way to add content to it, like a blog, for example. And then if you can get an email newsletter going as well, a list of email list for clients that you have a way to communicate with them via a newsletter is also an owned online asset. In other words, you own your website and you own your email list, and you don't own your space on Facebook. You don't own your Twitter profile. You're just kind of, they're allowing you to use their service, but it's not yours. You don't own it. So I would say always start with your owned online asset and make sure you have that tightened up. Make sure you have a place where people can connect with you that is your home on the web that you own, like your website. Then you go to Facebook or Instagram or a couple of these majors. Like I always say, start with Facebook and then maybe add one or two others. You don't have to be everywhere. It's almost impossible to be everywhere, and your clients probably aren't everywhere. So try to figure out your demographics and where they are. A portion of them are probably going to be on Facebook regardless. And so if we're talking about Facebook, go onto Facebook, post content that's interesting and valuable, but make sure as you're doing it that you give people an excuse to go to your website, so that you're building a community on these social media platforms and giving them a reason to drive them to your website, because ultimately that's what helps you get found. That's what helps Google find your business, because Google, when somebody does a Google search for a certain type of business, Google's job is to go find the business that's the best and that's the most active. They have a lot of ways to figure out how to return those best results for the user experience, right? So if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to find a photographer in West Bloomfield, Michigan, and they type in West Bloomfield photography, Google then goes over the internet and tries to find where a good photography studio is. And if they come across Frameable Faces and they see that there's a lot of activity on the Frameable Faces website, that signals to Google, oh, this is a happening, existing, going concern that has traffic. It's probably a good result. So if you can build on social media on Facebook and put links on Facebook to an interesting blog article on your website, give people a reason to visit from Facebook to your website, then you will grow your presence, you'll grow your community, and you'll help with your search engine results.